Afternoon, folks. Happy Sunday. I hope you're all doing well. Man, I tell you what, I'm not even going to try to sugarcoat it. It is hot today. I am in East Texas. I don't know, it's 92, 93 degrees and probably about 65 or 70% humidity and just about hot enough that I don't want to be sitting out here in the barn. But I had a little bit of time and come across something that I wanted to share with y'all. That this isn't anything highly technical. It's not a political thing. It's just something that I started doing a few years ago, and there was a bit of a process that it went through where there were some refinements made, and I still probably don't have it perfect, but I think that it's a beneficial tool to use when determining how you're going to rotate your stock, so to speak, concerning ammunition. So what brought up this subject of discussion is here recently with some of the things that have been going on. One of the things that I hear quite frequently at work is guys complaining that they're having a hard time finding any particular caliber of ammunition. More commonly the common calibers, you know, pistol wise would be 9mm, 40 or 45, 38s. Rifle wise, 223, 5.56 seems to be the biggest complaints that I'm hearing. And so I did a little research the other day just to see what I could find, because quite frankly it'd been a long time since I'd purchased any ammunition. So I set out with a goal. I decided I was going to stop in at a couple of stores. It was a Walmart store and an Academy store that happened to be right next to each other. And I just went in to poke around and see what they had. And I was surprised that there were quite a few people in the store purchasing ammunition and filling out NICS forms to make firearm purchases, and more than I thought there would be. But I was pleasantly surprised to see the quantity of ammunition that was on the shelf. I mean, it was not what it normally is, but it wasn't like trying to find toilet paper a couple of months ago. I mean, there was, if you needed it, it was probably there. They were restricting quantities that a person could purchase, which made it a little, I guess it was making what they had go a little further that way. So the meat and potatoes of this video, the reason I decided to shoot it was a few years ago I started marking the date on ammunition when I'd purchase it, so I would remember when I got it and I could rotate through my stock. And then sometime after I started doing that, I got the idea to start marking the price on the ammunition as well. And I did that mainly because back a few years ago there was some stuff going on, and certain calibers were hard to get a hold of, and when you could find them they were expensive. The gun shops were charging a premium for it. Walmart or Academy almost never had any, and there were a lot of folks that were buying it up and trying to make a profit off of it. So I started keeping track of how much I was paying for it, and while it wasn't a perfect science and I didn't quite follow through with it as good as I wanted to, it did kind of help with what I'm going to try to show you today. Alright, in case you're wondering, you're probably not interested, but the reason why this box is color-coded, or painted blue rather, is not color coding, but rather I just painted them with whatever I had left over to kind of prevent rust and keep them in a little bit better shape for a longer period of time in this humid environment that I live in. Alright, so purchased just a couple of days ago, June 2020, at the price of $12, is a 50-round box of 9mm, 124 grain full metal jacket Federal American Eagle ammo. You know, this is pretty low-end target ammunition. It is the 124 grain instead of the 115. I like them better in some of my guns. Okay, by comparison, back in December of 2014, so a little over 5 years ago, about 5.5 years ago, for apparently $16.99 at the True Value, and that would have been the one, I believe, probably Del Rio, Texas. I purchased a 147 grain box of Full Metal Jacket flat point ammunition, which is a little heavier, I realize, and I apologize that it's not exactly the same product, but typically speaking, the price point on those two products is near. And as you can see, $12 a couple of days ago versus $17 5.5 years ago. That's a tremendous drop. That led me to look up a couple of other boxes that I had here. And as you can see on top of this box right here, which is a 100 count box of Federal Champion, again, low-end Full Metal Jackets. These are 115s. Back in 2015, so a little over 5 years ago, I paid $26 for that, which is still more than what I paid for these comparatively, if you consider the price per round. Okay, moving on, just a couple of days ago, same day, same store, I purchased 100 rounds of 380 Auto 95 grain Full Metal Jacket Winchester white box, 100 round value pack, $34. And I'm rounding these prices up to the nearest dollar. It was 33 and change. None of them were exact dollar amounts. Here's an identical box of 380 Auto 95 grain. This box has bounced around under the seat of my truck for years. Bought them 5 years ago, paid $22. $22 for 50 rounds versus $34 for 100 rounds. Significantly more expensive 5 years ago. Okay, and on a side note, here's another box, 100 round box of 9mm 115 grain Full Metal Jackets, this time Winchester white box, purchased at Walmart 2015 for $28. I realize it's not the same brand or bullet weight, but it is a similar projectile. And again, the current price, $12 for 50 rounds, that's $24 for 100 rounds, and actually they did have some 100 round boxes of Winchester white box, 115 grain, and I want to say they were $22 a box. I didn't purchase any because I think the Federal American Eagle is a more preferable round, and I was able to get a 124 grain bullet for the same price as a 115 grain bullet. I had to laugh when I found these inside this box, which probably hadn't been opened up in about 5 years. I looked all over. I had 3 boxes of these in there. I didn't open any of them. I didn't mark anything on any of them. I didn't keep the receipts for any of them. And all I can figure is I didn't want my wife coming around and seeing how much I had paid for these. All right. Purchased just a couple of days ago, June 2020, for $19. Let's see, there it is. 325 rounds of Federal Auto Match 40 grain. I found several boxes of this. I like this one for one of my guns. Cycles real well through it. These were purchased, it's hard to read that, it looks like August 15th of 2013. I didn't mark the price on these. I had a few boxes of them. I didn't mark the price on any of them. I wish I would have. I don't know how much I paid for them back then, but I think it was probably at least as much, if not a little more, than the $19 that I paid for this box the other day. That's why I'm encouraging you to not only date it, but mark the price. I had also tossed this down in the box for this video, just to briefly go over the Aguila Mini Shell. These are made in Mexico. They're good for what they're good for. I've used them many times in the past. They are quite reliable, and with minor modifications that are not permanent, they can be made to function very well through a Mossberg style shotgun, a Maverick 88, Mossberg 500 or 590. If you'd like to see a video on these, put it in the comments. I was able to find 5 boxes of them at $10 a piece. That's the best price I've ever seen on these. There might be others that have gotten a better deal on them in the past, but I think when I first started buying these, they were close to $1 a round, and I was always kind of stingy with them. But I have got some surplus now, so I was thinking about making a video. Let me know what you think. But anyway, it's hot out here. I'm not going to waste any more of your time. I'm going to get back inside the house and cool off. But I made this video again just to stress the point. When you purchase ammunition, take a few seconds, either write on it with a Sharpie or make some kind of label that tells when you purchased it, and I encourage you to write how much you paid for it also. That way you can keep track of your stock, rotate your stock, use up old ammo first. It lasts a long time. If it's stored in good conditions, you know, that's usually not much of an issue, but I think for the most part, especially with training and target ammo, it's usually best to use up the old stuff first, and that way you don't wind up 10 or 15 years down the line with a bunch of old ammo that's been sitting out in the East Texas humidity for years and corroded up and no longer any good. But hope you enjoyed it. I take your comments and try to get back with you if I can. If you have any questions or if there's anything you'd like to see, let me know. Take care.